Big win, huh? Cole Palmer's still fucking struggling. The
Yeah,
penalty the penalty kick merchant can't score in open play.
I wouldn't call him PK merchant, but I will say, I think his performance that game um, was not impressive. Two, I think sometimes he's trying to force goals, in my opinion, as opposed to just naturally allowing it to flow, Like just that instinct being there at the right time. But sometimes, like again, that one time when he right in front of the keeper, it was just him and the keeper. He could have squared it to Nkunku. I don't know if you guys seen that,
Yeah.
but he tried to chip, dink, doink, whatever that was, hit the keeper, and yeah, no, it didn't end up going in, right? But to me, it's just he's trying to score. You can tell he wants to score.
Well, yeah, he hasn't scored in what? He's been on a cold streak. No penalties, so he can't score.
That's funny. That's funny. You guys would be begging for PKs. You guys would be begging like for PKs at this point in time.
Oh, 100%.
Uh-huh.
But where the discussion right now isn't what Arsenal's begging. Our discussion is going from title contenders to top four candidates.
That's crazy. I mean, I thought the name of the podcast was the Gunner's Corner, so I'm pretty sure it's Arsenal at all points in time, you know?
No, 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 no. There's a European twist to this. What are you talking about?
All right, all right, all
If it
right.
was if it was an Arsenal only podcast, we wouldn't be talking about like all the other Champions League games, the games from the weekend. No, no, no. Don't shy away from this, Laurent. You knew what you got yourself into, my friend.
Nah, man. I mean, listen, I'm not shying away from anything. I already told you guys last week, us going from actually we are never in the title race, FYI. I don't know why you guys keep bringing that up. But us going from second to where we are now, it's
It's a fall from grace.
I mean,
Wait, wait,
funny
wait,
enough,
Laurent,
at
I got
least
something for you. I got something for you.
at least we have a grace to fall from,
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Funny, funny.
Look, I'm even wearing blue for Chelsea. That's how much I respect you, bro. I'm even doing Cole Palmer's celebration.
So wait, show me who's give me a celebration from one of your strikers.
A celebration for one of my strikers. I
Yeah.
don't have grass here to dive.
So wait, whose celebration were you gonna give me?
Anyone. Or
Huh?
I don't have a corner flag to put my arm on it.
So who's that? Who's that? Is that Saka?
Yes, sir.
All
Or
right, all right.
here, hold on, hold on. Let me give you one celebration. Hold on.
An active player, an active
Hold on,
player.
hold on. Yeah, an active player. Okay.
Is that Trossard?
No,
That's
bro.
interesting.
No, Trossard is this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's Gabrielle.
The defender?
Yes, our top goal scorer currently on the roster.
Bro,
Yes.
didn't I said striker, not defender. Stop trying to like
What do you mean? He's a striker, bro. He's the top
no,
goal
he's not.
scorer.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Nice try. Nice try. I'm asking a celebration from your strikers, from your offensive, from an active.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you just did it for us.
Oh, wow. 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 That is gold. That's crazy. You see
Oh.
that? See that for those listening at home? It's been so long since they've scored, or since the people that are paid to score, that their fans don't even know what the celebrations are anymore.
Whoa, whoa,
That is
whoa.
actually ridiculous.
Bro,
Like,
listen to this blast. Listen to this blasphemy. This man gets on his
uh,
high horse after they beat Southampton, bottom of the table, 9 points the entire year. They beat them 4-0. Aaron Ramsdale making ridiculous saves. Shout out Rambo. And now you're on your like high horse, bro. You're not just
I mean, it's like I told you, man. It was a good performance. The adjustments to me was what it wasn't even the scoreline. It was the fact that he allowed himself to make the necessary adjustments going forward, which was what was the most important thing. And it's one of the themes that we have covered in past episodes, and that our fan base is actually very vocal about that. Enzo Maresca needs to make changes, right? He was coming into the games back to back. the same tactics, the same players in the same positions. And it just there was nothing dynamic about it, right? So the fact that he did what he did, and we got to see, different players, right, playing different positions, and it showed. Some more players,
It's a sign of a brilliant coach.
right? Come on, man. I mean, we already agreed last week, right, that it's 60-40. Right? You guys are saying in the player's favor, right?
No. I'm not hating. I'm just saying he's
I
won
know you're
more
not.
than Arteta. He won the championship. He's gonna win a European Cup in his first year. Like he's a brilliant coach. You gotta hand it to Maresca. $1 billion roster, winning the Conference League. He just promoted Leicester. Like he's brilliant. I would love him at Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would. Maybe he'd bring along a few strikers. Yeah,
Honestly.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I can tell you, right? You're chuckling. I don't know where the hell this high is coming from because it's been a fucking shit week for you. So it's like, yeah,
Listen,
either you
this
won the lottery and you're clearly, you're not telling us, right? So we'll just find that out, or I don't know what the hell's going like because I'd be pretty I'd still be pretty bummed out, man.
Bro, this is the next stage of depression.
Oh, right. Like,
You
was
go
it
through your you
is
go
that
through your dark phase, then you go through your delusion phase, and then you go back to the dark phase.
right. Hey,
Oh,
man,
fuck.
listen, our fan base is still growing, right, at Chelsea. Like, so if you ever feel like it's something you can't recover from, man, we'd be glad to have you on board, man.
Yeah, don't
You're
make me
already
go
you're
change my
already you're
shirt
already in
right
blue.
now. Don't make
You're
me
already
go.
in blue. Yeah.
I'm wearing blue for the Toronto Blue Jays, not. Let's get the
Right.
facts straight. It says Toronto Blue Jays on it. So
Mm. Yeah, man. Yeah, CJ, you've been awfully quiet, man. Like,
Yeah,
are you not
you
in the
know,
same stage of of the depressive episode as Mehrdad here?
I'm just listening to the bands, bro.
Mm.
I'm just listening to the bands.
Mm.
oh fuck. Shit. Oh shit. All right. Well, welcome back, listeners. Episode 4. As always, joined by my co-host CJ, always fucking repping the Arsenal. Yeah, that's a sweet collared shirt. I would wear that to work. And Laurent,
Yes, sir.
you know, the Chelsea, the Chelsea local, born and raised at Stamford
Hmm.
Bridge.
Hmm.
Oh shit. All right. Well, this week, devastating. I mean, we already knew this from last episode, but we'll kind of get into chatting about what was left for a title race, and then previewing the Champions League round of 16 with some pretty big fixtures. Um, but yeah, fellas, any comments to start us off?
Laurent, or did you have enough banter?
I mean, yeah, I've said enough. I'll give the stage to someone else, but good win this week, Chelsea. Keep it up. Maresca, if you're listening, that's what we like to see. That's what we like to see.
Yeah, you're awfully positive, positive and talkative in this episode. I like it. Must have scored a big goal or something this week.
Funny enough.
For those who don't get the inside joke, our boy Laurent he's quite the analyst, but he's also the baller on the pitch. So, man scored in a big semifinal in our Tuesday division this week. So big up to Laurent one time.
Mhm. Shout out to Raheem Sterling for the inspiration.
That's
Because
crazy.
yeah, no, when you start off playing that bad, then you realize, yo, so that's why they say, right? Like when you watch the pros, you can take the good and you can take the bad, right, as inspiration. So you can also base off the bad that they do, right? The way and then you just try to do like you do your best to do the opposite, right? So that's what I'm saying. I seen a player like that, right? Quality player, in my opinion, right? Raheem Sterling. Let's not pretend like, he hasn't done what he has, right? Because that's what the Arsenal fans are trying to make it seem. Like this guy's suddenly a shit baller, where he's never won anything respectable, right? Yeah, that guy. I'm pretty sure that guy has more trophies than most of the Arsenal players other on the squad, right? So let's have some respect, right? Plus he came from the Chelsea, right? The Chelsea side. So it's like I have to give him his props, right? So what I'm saying though is that you watch that and then you understand that, right? You can go out there and you can play a different game, right? Just because you're the professionals, they're having a bad game, doesn't mean that you at home, right? Whether you're playing Sunday League, you know, whichever other league you're playing in, you can decide for yourself how you want to perform, right? In game. So thanks again for the shout out. And yeah, man, on to the final we go.
Yo, CJ, would
First
this
of
be
all,
a would this be a bad time to just kick Laurent out of the meeting and then you and I just continue the pod?
yeah, man, the man is moving on a hype train right now. I rate it. But yo, first of all, we never bashed Sterling's career. I just want to get that out there straight. He's not performing right now. That's the facts. Like his career has been good. Like I said,
Mm,
I'll ride out more than anybody. That Jamaica tax rides heavy. So if
mm.
anything, I should have a little bit of bias. But no, man, I call it how I see it, bro. The man's washed. He's done out here. He's had a great career, but at the Arsenal, bro, it hasn't worked, bro. Keep it moving. We'll send him back to Chelsea ASAP.
Jeez.
Like you're talking very highly of him now, but when he's back at your ground next season and he's falling over the ball and running into defenders and hitting the ball right at the wall during for a free kick, you'll understand exactly why we're frustrated. So
He's gonna be in Saudi next year, let's be
You,
real.
you guys are acting like, bro, even like great players have had bad games. Probably say there's been better players out there that have had, like terrible games. Yeah, Mehrdad, what you're acting like professionals perform
No,
all
no,
the time.
no. There's no denying that, but like there's a difference between a bad game and there's a difference between when you just watch him, he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't know how to adapt his game to, like how do I want to say this? He doesn't know how to adjust his game to adapt to the fact that he doesn't have that pace anymore. When he was in Liverpool, when he was in City, I wouldn't even say Chelsea at all, but Liverpool and City, like he would be able to hit the ball past you and then just run it down.
Mm,
He had that quick 5-10 yards that he could run past you, a
but
la like Riyad Mahrez. Remember when he was at City, like he
yeah,
had
yeah,
he had that foot, he had that movement with his feet. He
yeah.
could dribble past you. But like what game was it? I think it was a less was it the Leicester game? I think it was the Leicester game. Like a lot of the time, like he would have the ball on the wing. Odegaard would come across to try to get the ball from him and he would try to take a one-on-one. It's like, dude, you don't have those anymore. You can't do that.
Mm.
Like he hasn't adapted his game to compensate for the fact that he doesn't have the pace anymore. But is his career phenomenal? Yeah, like can't hate on a player for his career, but like at this very moment in time, he's washed.
like Laurent, you're saying bad game, bro. He's had a bad season. Like he's had more than enough time to show what he's about, and we're not just bashing him off the back of one game. We're bashing him off the back of the course of the whole season so far.
But is
This
he
has
is
been,
he
of
been getting the minutes that would allow
course.
a player to, uh come on, like how many games has he do you guys know what his stats are in terms of the
Give me
minutes?
one sec. Give me one sec. I will find that.
Bro, well, yeah, while Mehrdad is looking at the stats, I don't even need stats, fam. I got the eye test. And look, we have four forwards out at the moment. So who do you think he's been playing? He's been having his time and he's failed miserably.
But that was
Like
recent. Like this was fairly recent though, no? Like in terms of like having
Oh,
just four forwards.
okay.
okay, so here are
Yeah.
the raw stats. Sorry, CJ. Here are the raw stats. So as of today,
Mm-hmm.
Raheem Sterling has played 587 minutes for Arsenal in the Premier League, 421 minutes in the Carabao Cup, and 239 minutes in the Champions League.
So for a 3 or 4 time Premier League winner, for a man who's played for your country on the big stage, and he was, I think, player of the tournament for England in the Euro 2020.
Mm.
Like, how many minutes do you need to prove yourself? That's more than enough time. That's ample
How
of
many minutes did
ample time.
Mbappe take to mind you, that team actually tried their hardest to get that guy to, you know what I mean? It's not a Raheem Sterling case where he was benched, they have other options. Like that team did everything to get Mbappe working. but it took a long time.
Wait, are you talking about Madrid right now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm talking about Madrid when the
So
beginning
my
of the
my
season.
only my only argument to that would be is Mbappe went from the French league, which is a completely different game style, completely different flow, to La
Mm,
Liga.
mm,
Whereas Raheem Sterling, albeit different, same league, different team,
mm,
um, different manager, different concept, it's still the same league. He knows all the players. It's not like
right,
he's going to a new league with different players that he doesn't know the defenders and the midfielders and stuff like that. So like the integration for Mbappe makes sense.
right.
That's why you see like Szoboszlai. You know, he came over, he struggled his first year,
Mm,
right? I think the only player that I can genuinely say in the last 5, 6 years that has come over from a different European team to the Premier League that hasn't struggled is the robot in Erling Haaland.
mm,
Everybody else has had that first year struggle because the Premier League is the most physical league in Europe.
mm,
So that's my only argument to that.
mm,
That's exactly the point, though. It's like, yo, Sterling's been here forever. He's been there,
mm,
done that, and he's got with the time that's been allocated to him. He hasn't gotten 5 minutes here or there. He started a few Premier League games by now. He started in cup games, Carabao Cup games, and so on, where we're playing sides in like Championship League One, whatever, and he's still not performed like at all. Eye test and stats. I think he's got like one assist or maybe two
He
assists now max
has
in the season.
1 goal, 2 assists in all competitions. I think the
There you
1 goal,
go
1 assist is in the Carabao, and then he has 1 assist in the
in the
Premier
Prem.
League.
Yeah.
mm,
So it's like, you've had more than enough time. You're not a young kid on the come up. You're not going to a new league. You're not going to a new country. Like, you've been there, done that, man. It's just, sometimes you just gotta know when to hang up the boots, man. Your time is up.
mm,
And his coach is the same. His coach is the one that got the best out of him at Man City. So let's not forget that as well. So it's not like for Mbappe, it's new coach, new teammates, new everything, new league, new country, where this is new team, but he probably knows all the players. He grew up with a majority of the British ones and even, the European ones. And he's been in the league for many, many years. So
No adaptation. You're just transporting from another London team to another London team. Like,
yeah.
it's no excuse, man. But to be fair, like, and what the I guess excuse that people have been giving him is, he started his career in the Premier League a lot earlier than like most players. Like he was in
Yeah.
Liverpool's first team at 17, so he's had an extended career, like a lot of mileage on the body. So maybe essentially where he's only 30 years old. He's only just turned 30, but he's for how long he's been or how long the career he's had in the Premier League has been. It's like he's essentially playing. He's a 30-year-old playing at like a 33, 34-year-old age,
Yeah.
right? Because like I said, of how early he got into Liverpool's first team. So yes, he just turned 30, but what? That's like now 12, 13 years in the Premier League. Not many people have that time, So he's got the mileage on the body. He's lost that yard of pace, and obviously lost that belief and confidence since
Mhm.
his career at Chelsea's gone downhill. But it wouldn't be the first time Chelsea's killed the careers of some forwards. So you know that
So
was the
hold
start
on.
of the end.
Okay, so when you guys I got a quick question before we dive into the other topics here, but when you guys say washed, so because you mentioned confidence, and we know that confidence and psychology, right, is it's a big part of the sport, right? A lot of it is mental, where a player can have the skill set, but it's just, they're down, like mentally, psychologically, and that doesn't allow them to shine, right? As opposed to really when it's like, okay, maybe it's like you're losing your touch, right? So what do you think it is? Is it both or just one or the other in his case?
I'm going to say both
Mm,
for sure.
both.
Yeah, both.
Mm,
Yeah.
Um, the fact that he's maybe lost that yard of pace,
mm,
hasn't played as much consistent football prior to coming to Arsenal. Like I said, like I was bantered when I said Chelsea killing careers out here, but
mm,
he hasn't. He was doing well for a bit at Chelsea, and then he got dropped, and he's been in and out of the team, so he hasn't been able to perform consistently. The way he's been shipped out of Chelsea, I think, would have had a huge dent in his confidence. To be honest with you, again, him being the career that he had, and him being the player that he once was, to be treated the kind of the way he was at Chelsea towards the back end, when I think like you guys are putting him in the youth team, like not even training with the first team anymore, like that'll take a hit in your confidence and in your
mm,
belief. So it's hard to gain that back. Coming to Arsenal now, he wasn't going to be he never was going to be a regular starter in Arsenal.
Mm.
Um, so when he was getting his time on the pitch, did he have enough, consistency? Had he had enough football up to that point to come in and perform at Arsenal straight away? Like, no, he didn't. Um, whilst I was saying, he's an experienced player, he shouldn't need that long of an adaptation period. I think before anything else, it was confidence. And then once you lack confidence, that spirals mentally into your body physically. And then
Mhm.
you just lose your belief and maybe even some of your ability entirely. But it wasn't that long ago that he was performing at a decent level because at Chelsea, like I said, when he was
So,
playing, I think even up to last season, he was still contributing a bit. So I think it definitely started with the confidence thing, and it definitely started with the way I guess he was treated at Chelsea towards the end and like until last summer.
okay.
I would echo that. And the other thing that I think a lot of Arsenal fans also forget is one on the confidence piece, like Edu literally said he wasn't our plan.
Mm,
So that's for one, knowing that you're coming to a team that you weren't even in the plan of things. Like as much as they try to backtrack that, and Arteta's been doing damage control by saying Raheem's had such a big career and stuff like that. Like that's already damage as is. And the second thing is the injuries that he's had at Arsenal, like the hamstring injury. Like is he still carrying a knock, or is that knock psychologically impacting him? If he didn't have that injury maybe earlier in the season, he would have been coming on more to relieve Saka on those games that were already winning, and he could have played
hmm
maybe 10, 15 minutes to get his legs under him. There's so many factors. Um, but right now, like yeah, like that he doesn't pass the eye test. It's multifaceted. Like when you look at his stats last year, 31 games for Chelsea, 8 goals, 4 assists. That was in the Premier League, EFL Cup, 6 matches, 1 goal, 1 assist, and then Champions League, that was in 2023, sorry. 2022, 2023. So it's been a couple years for Chelsea, but he had 3 goals. So, but anyways, on that bombshell, Forest, Arsenal, never
Damn, that
gonna.
became the Sterling episode real quick. Sterling
Yeah.
segment. I don't know how we got into that, but I think it's definitely justified, especially because of the fact that we're gonna eventually get into talking about our solutions. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm.
We didn't find any solutions in this game. It was honestly like we all had predictions. Um, again, 2 weeks in a row, a couple weeks in a row now, we're wrong on our predictions. Um,
I didn't expect that.
I
That
like
that result I did not expect. Like,
no,
no, no.
no. Um, there's a couple takeaways that I just want to quickly touch on before I pass the floor to you guys. One, the usage of Calafuria coming off the left, because I did let you guys know like I'm not gonna watch the game. I ended up just tuning in because I was just like I can't not watch the game.
of course you did, man.
Um,
Of course, of course.
Calafuria coming off the left before his yellow card, which uh, justified, not justified, whatever, but coming off the left and like popping up in positions where like a number 10 would pop up at the top of the box, and that turn that he had that the ball hit the inside of the post, like I can see what Arteta was trying to do and change kind of the tactics from that aspect. But obviously, again, having that yellow card really derailed um, his availability for the second half. Um, and to be honest with you, there's been a lot of disrespect to Jorginho. I really don't want him to leave. He doesn't have the legs, he doesn't have the pace as Thomas Partey, but there's just something about the way he controls the game and gets the game ticking. And I love the fact that his first option is never to go backwards. Partey does that as well, but when I compare, Declan Rice or even sometimes Odegaard, because I find Odegaard goes back a lot. I love the way that he kind of keeps the ball ticking, and he tries those passes that you're like, okay, what do you like? Why would you try to concede possession? Like he tries to force the ball in some tight positions, but we need that when we're lacking creativity. We need that out of a number six. Um, but the the attacking deficiencies, yeah, I don't know.
It's funny that you guys said that you didn't like expect that. Like for me personally, I didn't even have to. I would have watched the game. Obviously, I would have, emotionally last Saturday after the West Ham game, I would have said, no, I'm not watching this game, all that. But I physically couldn't have watched the game because I was at work, But usually I'll bust a gut to watch a game like this, and I'll watch any Arsenal game, even if that means I watch it afterwards, not knowing the score and things like that. But this one, like after the West Ham result, I feel like I just, you know, it was definitely a dagger, So I feel like our Premier League season is over in a nutshell. So it's hard to engage in Premier League games going forward for the rest of the season. And yesterday, again, circumstances being what they are at the moment, it wasn't very hard to predict for me. I didn't even need to watch the game. I watched the extended highlights back afterwards, and I did not need to watch the game to know how exactly how that game was going to go. And I've been called, some people think I can be like the pessimist, but I like to consider it like more like the realistic one, And I'm always here repping the Arsenal, and I'm all for being positive, but I don't want to, have false positivity. And I just knew, I was having a debate with another friend yesterday, saying, oh, be more positive. And, he even said to me, guys, and I'm not going to name any names, but shout out my boy, you know who you are. He's like, I'm disappointed that all three of you guys predicted. He's like, I watched your last podcast and I'm disappointed that all three of you predicted a loss. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? I said the reality of the situation is like we're fans, right? We're football fans, but we've played the game. We play the game still. We analyze the game. We just got to call it how you see it. Like there was no way, like a drawing a blank, a 0-0 clean. Like I, I just I couldn't have predicted anything else because I said to you guys in the last pod, how are we going to score?
Yeah.
I do not see us scoring goals, and that's why I would have predicted a loss. Now, for the sake of trying to be optimistic, my next actual result was going to be a draw, but the draw I would have predicted would have been 0-0 because I cannot see us scoring. I just can't see us scoring, and that's how it played out yesterday. When I watched back the extended highlights, aside from the Calafiori right foot effort in the first half, our other moments just came from set pieces and corner kicks.
Yep.
But we're not breaking teams down in open play at the moment. I just don't see how we're scoring. And I was validated in my thought process. And I think we were all validated in our initial assessment of Arsenal not picking up 3 points because of our just inability to do anything in the final third at the moment. It's there for anybody to see who knows the game and watches the game, respectfully. We can't do it at the moment. And we can't break down teams in open play. We have our forward players who are playing that are currently out of form. And your, Odegaard's, who I think is fatigued. Declan Rice, I think, is fatigued at the moment as well. And the other three, and Trossard, Trossard is badly out of form. And Marino's still just not a striker. And then all our other hopes rely on our 17-year-old on the right wing and Ethan Winieri. So it's just hard to see. That forward line I just mentioned has no pace either. So everything is played in front of their back line. They're
Yeah.
not worried about anyone running in behind on them. They're not worried about getting turned. It's just I find it's easy for teams to defend at the moment. Especially who teams are going to low block us. So, anyways, I think like I said, I would have the other result I would have predicted if it wasn't a 1-0 loss would have been a 0-0 because as we can see yesterday tells the whole story of Arsenal at the moment. Brilliant at the back. We
Yep.
defended really well. Like our center backs defended Chris Wood well. Brilliant at the back, not a problem defending. It's just right now at the moment going forward is just we're just firing blanks, and it's hard to see how we're going to break teams down. So that result honestly was almost completely expected, essentially, in my opinion. I just thought we might have got done by one goal on their end because that sometimes tends to happen to us. We get unlucky and teams will score early and sit back, but I mean, good that we didn't lose the game, but 0-0 tells the story of Arsenal at the moment. Brilliant clean sheets, brilliant defense at the back, but can't score going forward.
Did you hear what Nuno Espirito Santo said after the game to Martin Keown?
No, what did you say?
He essentially said because Martin said he's like, oh, you played four at the back, blah blah blah. I'm shocked that you didn't go with three in the back. And some fans were saying, oh, Nuno's taking a dig at Arsenal, but he's not. He's just spitting facts. He said, well, Marino's not a striker, so I don't need that extra body in there for defense.
True.
So I'd
It's very
rather
true.
have my fullbacks playing higher up the pitch, which is true. And that's where you saw, Nico Williams getting into certain, positions and causing us to defend more. That's where you saw Hudson-Odoi take advantage of it because he was able to play a little bit higher up and not
Hmm.
protect Nico Williams on that side. And then you saw Anthony Elanga on the counters. Like it's true. That's a lot of like I think the game that we saw. midweek is going to be a game that we're going to have to expect a lot more until
for the rest of the
Martinelli and
season.
Saka are back. And even when they're back, like to be honest with you, like the I think we talked about it last week. Like these are we talked about it off air when we were talking about is it players, is it coaches, but the big thing about the players piece is right now the players know the title's over and they know the only thing left for them is Champions League. So to get up for that every day in the Premier League to know like the results don't really matter, it's for more of a pride thing. Your legs get heavy at the 60th minute instead of the 80th minute. And that difference you see when you're missing chances, it's like there's that much more, like you're pressing that much more, you're nervous that much more. Um, like Calafiori, like the way that he was playing that defense, like I think it was in the first half when Hudson-Odoi first beat him and he got the yellow card. Like you saw he was because of the goal that we gave up to West Ham with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you saw that he kind of pressed, but he was hesitant. And I wouldn't have necessarily pressed Hudson-Odoi because he's got the pace. You can't like Aaron Wan-Bissaka isn't as crafty, so I would have pressed them. But like Hudson-Odoi, like Chelsea Academy player. Like he's got that talent. I maybe I would have actually played them reverse, right? What he did with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I would have done to Hudson-Odoi. But you could just see there's that anxiety around the players. So um, it, it's really sad to see, to be honest with you. Um, and just to say something about your friend saying like you being a pessimist, like I'm the most optimistic person when it comes to Arsenal. I don't have any more optimism, unfortunately.
And
Like,
the club takes that out of you, doesn't it? Like you don't choose to be that way. I don't choose to
no,
be that
no,
way.
no.
You
I,
just
I
react because your
genuinely
club.
like day to day, like I'm very optimistic. I try to be very optimistic. I try to look on the bright side of things. Um, and specifically with Arsenal, I think when you and I talk about it, specifically, Laurent, we haven't like we're bantering more now, but typically I'm the more optimistic one between myself and CJ. But for that game, midweek game, like coming off such a hard weekend, like a nil-nil draw to me is a perfect score line. Unfortunately, like it's I I don't have anything left. Like it's got to the point where I typically love watching games, just any game. Doesn't need to be Arsenal, and I don't like I don't have that desire anymore. So yeah,
Well, so and I this leads to the next question, and I was gonna ask this generally, but I want to bring it to Laurent first. Um, but the whole is the title race over thing. Yes, I'm pretty sure we can all say that it is at this point. You'd have to be the most delusional person or fan to say otherwise, to be honest. But in terms of, is it still a successful season? Now, what defines success? And I want to context this by saying, at the beginning of the season, there was a few conversations going around about if Arteta doesn't win anything this season, do you sack him, right? Like if he doesn't win any trophies, um, does he stay on board? Do you sack him? What do we do? And then some people were giving context. So like, okay, can you pose the scenario in different ways? Like if he doesn't win any trophies, but he finishes 1 or 2 or 3 points off the league leaders or the winners, which we all thought would have been City. You know, if he doesn't win the league, but he only finishes a couple points off of the winners again, does that justify a sack? A lot of people would say no, or he doesn't win anything again, but he gets to a cup final and loses, or he gets to the Champions League semifinals, which is progression based on last season because we only got to the quarters. Um, so if he gets to semifinals of the Champions League and loses, do you sack him then? Is that still a successful season? Is it not? Now we're in a state where not only may he not win any trophies, or not only is he not going to win the league, but we can't even say at this moment in time, it doesn't look like we can say he's going to be just short of the Premier League by a couple points. It looks like that gap is now widening, right? So people were saying, okay, if he doesn't win the league, but he only finishes a couple points off, that's still justifiable for him to stay on board. Um, so if he finishes, in double digits off the league leaders, is that a different conversation? Is it still successful? Are we progressing or are we regressing? There's context to it, obviously, with the injuries and so on and so forth, but I guess generally what I'm asking is like Laurent to you, like what is it still a successful season for Arsenal if we don't win the league, if we don't win any trophies? And at this point, how could Arsenal salvage this season to make it successful.
Okay, so to answer the first question, a season that finishes without any trophies at this point in time. So if you guys finish the season getting knocked out of Champions League, to me, I think the only way you guys finish this with some form of success is if you guys make it to the finals of Champions League. If you were to lose then, okay. Semifinals does not cut it. So no, um, he has to do everything now to win the Champions League, in my opinion, to
Mm,
for any form of success. Now, the reason why I say this, right, and mind you, I was I was more relaxed in terms of my opinion towards Arteta earlier on. Now suddenly I've changed. I've changed my tune. I'm
have
drinking
you?
that Abramovich Kool-Aid. Yeah, that's what I'm drinking right now. Like I'm actually like nope. And the reason why is one, like I told,
Wow.
or actually like I mentioned in the group, this season in terms of the competition in the Premier League, the easiest it's been for any top serious top team.
Mm,
It's been the easiest. As a fan watching, right? If your team is not competing, if you're not a Liverpool fan and your team is a top team, every fan should be disappointed in your team's performance because you realize, man, like it didn't really take much. All you have to do is just be consistent. Um, and you could have at least competed with the other guy there, but like the third place team, right? Really nowhere to be found, right? And in this case, even the second place team, right? You see what I'm saying? Is nowhere to be found. So no, I think it was poorly executed. Is the only way to say it at this point. It will not get easier than this for a long time. Um, and I would hope not, especially as a fan of the game, as a fan of the Premier League, right? I don't want to see
mm,
teams competing at this level. It's not interesting for us, right? Yeah, there's no interest. Like you already know who the winners are, right? As opposed to, for example, La Liga right now, three teams every week,
mhm,
midweek, it's shifting from first to
mhm,
third, right? That's what we want to see, right? That's what gets us gets us pumping, like the adrenaline, right? It has us like because you don't know what the result is going to be, right? It comes down to the wire. We want those Aguero moments, right? Like when it comes down to the final day, that's what we want, right? As fans. So no. And the second question, right? You said, well, what would it take to salvage the season? Um, okay, so assuming, right, let's say worst case scenario, he doesn't win anything, right? Um, for one, I think how he ends the season, it still has to be a consistent performance. So you guys mentioned that, and Mehrdad, you said that as well, right? That given the state of affairs, that players probably feel like, oh man, right, we got to wake up and show up, right? So now you're getting tired legs at the 60th minute versus the 80th, right? For me, especially like if I'm on the board or I'm Arteta, like I'm trying to plan out the next 3 5 years of this club, right? I want to make sure that even though we know we're not gonna win anything, these players still have to show. You still have to show. I need to see that drive, right? Because now for one, for your fans, it's the respectable thing to do at this point, right? Close out the league in a manner that says, man, if these guys play like this next year, okay, we can get something, right? So the performance has to match a certain type of burning desire, right? That really shows that for one that they care, right? They care about what the fans think. Um, the players care about the coach, right? The people running running it behind, right? Orchestrating all of this for them, and that at the core that they care about the game of football, man. You know, Mehrdad mentioned last week, I don't know if we got that on tape, but the fact that a lot of time it comes down to the contracts, right? To motivate the players, right? we don't give a fuck. Like as a fan of the sport, if you're listening to this, we don't give a fuck how much you get paid. Some of us have played the sport just the way, right? Just the same way you guys have. We fell in love with it. Uh, it's just for some of us, right? Maybe we didn't have those opportunities, right? But you guys did, and you guys got there. But never forget, right? That at one point in time, you weren't playing for dollars, right? You were playing for the beauty of the sport. That's what it comes down to, right? Just like that, like to me, that's what we want. We want to see heart. We want to see passion. We want to see drive. Once you start playing like that, that's when the fans respect you, and we get good games, and then the results come. So yeah, essentially, right? That I feel like that's the those two things, and then the last thing in the case of Arsenal is that Arteta now or whoever it is has to get serious about bringing in the offensive firepower for next season because that is the missing piece. That is truly the missing piece for the club. So it comes down to that, right? But I would not say that he should be sacked. In my opinion, if they're willing to, like take those initiatives in the next season to allow for those proper changes to be made, right? To make those signings, it would be I think incredibly stupid to sack him at this point, right? Because we realize that he knows how to right build a defensive back line, right? Bring in the midfielders. It's the offense, really. Like when you think about it, right? His system, his style of play, right? It's something that can get you results, right? But now the extra edge is going to come from those offensive players, from those signings, and that's what I believe the Arsenal fans want to see for next season, right? And are expecting. So, yeah, that's my answer to that, right? Sorry if it was a winded answer, but yeah, I
No,
get
no, it's good.
I get very
It's,
passionate, as they say, you know.
it's
So,
good, man. That's good insight. It's good insight for us and for the viewers.
mhm.
Mehrdad, what constitutes successful season for you and at this point, and how can we salvage our season?
I mean, I said it at the beginning of the year, like if he doesn't win something, I'd want him to be sacked. But again, it comes back to the context piece. Um, you can't prepare a season thinking that your top forwards are going to be injured and like one injury after another injury after another injury. You can't prepare for that. And you also can't prepare for a Liverpool team that is firing at all cylinders. Like everything is going their way. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but like when you look at it, first time they faced City this year, they didn't have Rodri. Second time they faced them, they didn't have Rodri and Holland. First time they faced Arsenal, we didn't have Saliba. First time when they faced Newcastle most recently, they didn't have Isak. Right? There's a lot of tiny things that are going in their favor, but it's not to take away from their sheer consistency. And they had a tough run of games in the beginning after the year that they came out like firing. Yes, they were facing Real Madrid with Mbappe trying to find his ropes, but they still had to perform. They still had to win those games. The thing with Arsenal, um, I wouldn't want to see Arteta sacked. I think when you're looking at the grand scheme of things, I think I keep coming back to it. I think it's more the board than I think it is him. Because again, if like I don't know if you guys saw the Stephen Warnock quote. He essentially said if Liverpool lost Salah, Jota, Diaz, Gakpo, they wouldn't be in the same position they're in. They're being Arsenal, and you're starting to see the punditry started to talk about it because Arteta's done a phenomenal job with the hand that he's been dealt. Now, is it his own doing? Maybe. I would say I would say 60% I think it's his own doing, but I think that other 40% is on the board, right? I would have loved this year. I think I heard it on Arscast Extra. They were talking about how this January window, we wish it was exactly like the Trossard and Jorginho window. Bring in some older heads and just get us over the line, you know? Even if you do have to pay a little bit extra for an older head that's going to retire, but bring that in because you know that you need something. Don't just, save the money for the summer and, have that Declan Rice type player sign in the summer. Um, but coming back to your question, I think success for me this year is I want to see Arsenal beat Liverpool at Anfield. That's a huge one for me. I don't want to lose. Even a draw I would take, but I do not want to lose under any circumstances. If we have to give them the guard of honor, I want them to go there and ruin their experience. That's one. And I'm just talking about the context of this year. Secondly, I want to see us at least get to the finals of the Champions League. That's what I would define success with the hand that we've been dealt for this year at this moment in time. So, because if we're not, I don't think we're going to be able to bridge that gap. But at least by May, we should, Martinelli, Saka would be back up and running. We can figure out the front line a little bit more, but that's what I would consider success for from now. But is it success in the grand scheme of things? No. And listen, man, if we have an early exit from like FA Cup, Carabao Cup next year, I don't even want to wait. Like sack him. I don't even want to wait because that's nonsense. FA Cup is the Arsenal Cup. You should be going to the finals every year. So yeah,
Mm.
it's yeah, it's hard. It's hard being at this point.
Yeah, I share definitely what both sides what you guys are saying. You know, the passion I think that we all share on, not just Arsenal but the game of football. I think Laurent said it brilliantly too when you said, you wanted to see the Premier League competitive. I hope for the sake of the Premier League next year that, we get more competitive division as a whole, Um, it's funny, Laurent. Like it's nice to see you change your tune a little bit. I think you kind of come around to see that, as much as you've been bigging up Liverpool this season, and we have as well, but you have from a different perspective of, you've just been impressed by their consistency and, their ability to perform week in, week out. But I think you're also seeing too, like what we've been saying, and is just how kind of underwhelming a lot of the other sides have been, and the other big sides in particular. You see the traditional big six in the league just all spread out across the league at the moment. You have two of the four in the bottom half of the table, and Spurs and United. You know, Chelsea, who's kind of been flirting around the Champions League European areas. More was a little bit expected of them, maybe. City definitely with their drop off, and obviously Arsenal. So we hope for a more competitive league next year as a whole, and we don't want to see a team run away with it in February. Like Liverpool now have done. It looks like the season is over in February, and that should not happen in the Premier League. You know, but yeah, moving on. I guess shifting gears. If we're gonna go over the fixtures, the Premier League fixtures of the last day or two. Um, Spurs City, 1-0 to City. This was a game that killed me last season. Um, Mehrdad will know exactly what I'm talking about. Down the stretch last season, last few games left in the season, this was the one game we were hoping that City might drop points in. And Mr. Heung-min Son goes on that breakaway in the last 10 minutes of the game, right at the goalkeeper. That the famous meme or clip
Oh,
of Pep.
oh, oh.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
famous video or clip of Pep on his literally on his knees as Son is running through on goal.
Mm.
And that was the moment, where time stood still for all Arsenal fans. That was the one that we needed. And yeah, so this game, I hate this game. It'll forever haunt me. Spurs City. Funny enough, Spurs, normally play City really well. And, at that time in that game last season, we were hoping for something, but at the same time, you can never rely on Spurs to do anything for you. So,
No.
but yeah, Spurs, City won, Spurs nil. Did any of you guys watch the game or catch the highlights or anything?
Yeah, I got the highlights. The robots back. Erling Haaland, two games with the knee injury. Um, Yes, listen, City for them right now, it's just win as many games as possible and stay in top four because it's getting real congested from three to I think 3 to 10. It's getting real congested. So, I mean, what else do you expect from Nando's FC? They yeah, their 3 game winning streak came to an end. Um, so it is what it is.
It's crazy to hear that, isn't it? City to stay in the top four and try and win as much games as possible to stay in the top four. It's crazy to hear.
Yeah. But hey, that's it's a fall from grace. It's a fall from grace.
You guys think they'll be back next season?
Back in what sense? Like in the title race?
Yeah, maybe not at like the robotic, demonic pace that they've been on in the last few years, but yeah, like definitely back in the mix of the title.
I would say it really depends on what happens with Rodri, and their outgoing and incomings. Because I've heard like from a couple of threads that I've read, like they were thinking about getting rid of De Bruyne, Silva, Gundogan, Grealish,
Yes.
Ederson, um, McAtee, and someone else that I'm forgetting. Um, so that's the spine of the team right there. That's the robotic team that's won Premier League after Premier League. So it really depends. Like, do I think that they'll be top four guaranteed? I think they'll be top four unless they get relegated with the 115. Um, Premier League, I can't say for certain at this moment.
Yeah, Laurent, what do you think? You think they'll be back in the mix for the title next year?
Oh man. Honestly, like I'd have to go with what Mehrdad said. Um, Also, the points he made there about those players them looking to ship him out. I'm just hearing about that, right? So factoring that um presently, yeah, I don't even see how that works, right? Is that all of those players at the same time they're looking to get rid of?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to say that if that is the case, I don't even see top four because
Hmm.
that's a lot of structure you're dismantling. And Pep, right? They call him the genius. I say he's a genius with $1 billion, right? You can give anyone that kind of money and shit. Like they start to seem real smart. But no, no, no. All jokes aside, um, if that is the case, it sounds more like a team restructuring, and those take time. It's not, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're not gonna figure it out in a summer.
No, and
Um,
like you got to have that ambition too, right? Like the thing that worked, um, and I really, really, really hate coming back to Arsenal with this, but the thing that worked with City when they were winning is that they were all moving in the same direction. The one thing, the one thing that I can say about this Arsenal team is even with all the adversities that we're facing, and yes, there's a lot of questions to be asked about Arteta on the board, but you can genuinely see that all the players are moving in the same direction. That's the foundation that we didn't have before Arteta. Maybe with Arsene Wenger we did, um, but that's what Arteta's created, and that's what Pep created. And when you're losing that structure, that drive, why are they struggling right now? Let's think about it. They lost Riyad Mahrez, very underrated, very, very underrated.
Yeah, he's
You know,
nasty, man. I rate
like
him.
people don't talk about that. Like in the Champions League, he against I think it was against Madrid. Like he was the reason why they won, right? Like people don't talk about those things. They got um Aymeric Laporte. Everyone talks like poorly about him, but as a squad player and as someone that had a run in games, like he was a huge player for them, right? These are the things that the fans like to overshadow. So if they are going to bring in new people, like I don't think Savinho is it. As good of a player that he is, I don't think he's a City type player. Doku, yeah. But like Kovacic, oh yeah, he's the other one that they want to get rid of. Sorry, Kovacic, he's the other one. But a lot of the new players that they're bringing in, like they're bringing in like 21, 22, 23 year olds. So they're going through that rebuild. So top four, I would be confident in saying yes for top four because it's um Pep Guardiola. Like I think Pep always finds a way, so I'm gonna say that. But for the actual title race, unfortunately, I think it's gonna be Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Why are you laughing?
What was that?
Why are you laughing?
Yeah, because of the way you said it. Chelsea.
Oh,
Like,
oh,
what's up?
him. Oh.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no. It's nothing you said, Mehrdad. Yeah, it was just his reaction to it. Like, damn, are we so far out that these are the kind of reactions that we get when our names are mentioned? Like, what's going on? Like, enlighten us, bro. Like,
No, that surprised me. Still, I didn't expect Chelsea, you know. I think it'll depend on if Chelsea can get top four this season or get into the Champions League. If Chelsea don't get Champions League football, then you can pretty much discount them out of the title race. Again, I would say.
mm, okay, why do you say that?
Well, simply because, we know what Champions League money and revenue brings to a club. We also know that Champions League football attracts the best players in the world, essentially. So I think it would be a big hit for Chelsea on the business and financial side of things, but also um, on the pitch because, you want to attract, the better players. And if Chelsea misses out on Champions League again, I don't think that does any wonders for Chelsea's hopes of trying to push on for a title. Like it's kind of things happen in stages normally, right? Unless it's like a Leicester season where they just go from relegation to winning the league. But in terms
Mm,
of stages, it's like, step one for Chelsea would be just kind of similar to the Arsenal model was step one is we need to get back into the top four. You need to get back into competing for, proper European places. And then, you go on to try and win the league. And those things happen in stages, in the sense that one thing will lead to another. So you get Champions League football, you get top four, then you get the players, and then from then on you can push on to compete for the league. So yeah, I don't know. I think it would be a massive step back for Chelsea if they don't get in the Champions League this season.
My
So, but
only my only rebuttal, sorry, CJ, to cut you off. My only rebuttal to you would be the only reason, even if they don't get Champions League, the only reason why I think they would still be in the title race is they don't have a financial structure for wages, and that is attractive for players to come to London, even if they're in Europa. That's my
will it
only
dish out
rebuttal.
like 8, 9 year contracts?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, look at it. Look at like they don't have a structure. Like I think that they're gonna I think Chelsea's gonna sign Aaron Ramsdale. Like of course they beat down Aaron Ramsdale in Southampton
Hmm.
this week 4-0, but Aaron Ramsdale in Chelsea, excuse me, in Chelsea would be an improvement in what Chelsea have. And they need to figure out what they're doing with their forward line because there's a lot of talent there, but their back line needs to be shored up. And I do think Aaron Ramsdale would shore that up for them to be in the title race. And if they did want to sign someone, whether they're in Europa or not, I think the wages that they're going to be offered compared to Arsenal, for example, because Arsenal does have a wage structure, like I think that's going to be enticing for a player to go there, right? They're most likely going to win the conference league. So if like again we come back to I think we talked about last week, like Isak, is he going to go to Arsenal? Is he going to go to Liverpool? Like I would love him to go to Arsenal, but if it's between those two, I would say Liverpool. And if we're talking about another player, for example, like just let's just say for example, let's just say Sesko. Do you want to go to a team that just won a European Conference League? And I know it's Conference League, but there was that ambition to win something. Or do you want to go to, and I hate to say this, the nearly men? Like,
Hmm.
let's be real now. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, CJ, but like that was my only
No,
that's
no.
my only like rebuttal to that, which is really sad because I think Arsenal is a bigger team. Sorry, I'm not trying to take a shot at you, Laurent. I think Arsenal genuinely is a bigger team than Chelsea, even though Chelsea's won. There's no denying they won the Champions League. Arsenal hasn't. They won the FIFA Club World Cup, but I think in the grand scheme of things, Arsenal is bigger, but Chelsea's won things.
Interesting. So you think we could lose out potentially to some players competing against Chelsea? Like if Arsenal and Chelsea were going head to head for a player, you think we could lose out to them?
In my opinion, if I'm being realistic, I think yes.
Interesting.
I genuinely think yes because we talked about it off air. Like, and I hate keep going back to Arsenal, but this year, like you always said, it's going to expose a lot of people. And the lack of ambition shown in January is, if I was a player, is what I would look at. Why would I want to come to a team that didn't show the ambition when they were there? Like Ollie Watkins, I know is a publicity stunt, but like really, like you, okay, give him 70 mil. Even if we have Havertz and Ollie Watkins last year, okay, that's a good, okay, I can live with that. And we still keep Jesus, put him on the wing, right? We got another option for Martinelli and Saka. You keep the same team and you run it again with Ollie Watkins and Havertz and maybe bring a younger guy in, right? Okay, sure. But you're showing ambition. So if I'm like a Sheshko, if I'm a Gyökeres, if I'm an Isak, like where was that fucking ambition? And that's the issue. It's not about this year, it's about the precedent that you're sending. Um anyways, let's try to get through some of these games quickly.
Mhm.
Manchester United. Did you guys see the Patrick Dorgu tackle on Omar Hutchinson?
Yeah, so
Oh, he could have
that
broken
was
his
bad.
leg.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
And
bad. I'm surprised the referee didn't see that in actual like real time.
that
Because
was
like yeah,
that was bad. That was like a Aaron Ramsey.
Ramsey. Yeah.
But
You got sent up for it, or
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. VAR came back and he got sent off. They came back 1-3-2. I think one of their goals was an own goal, if I'm not mistaken. But still, hey, they won
spread?
relegation.
Proper relegation clash
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, spread.
Um,
Sorry, United fans.
I'm gonna come back to the Palace game for 1 second. Brentford, Everton, really, really disappointing for Brentford, but an amazing result for David Moyes and Everton. I think they're locked at staying up. Um, Brighton, Bournemouth, again, I think it's a tough loss for Bournemouth. I expected more. I thought it was gonna be a draw at a minimum. I didn't think Bournemouth were gonna lose, even playing at the MX. Um, and then Wolves, like we could have just got Mateus Cunha, man. Every time I watch Wolves, it just pisses me off more and more. Like he's he's Gabriel Jesus, but bigger and more flair and more decision. Like it's just
Hmm. I think if we actually like put down some proper money, he would have come in January too. And my thing is like if he is on our radar for the summer, like why can we, and this is what we should have done too, is just fast track some of these signings. Like if we're trying to be all clever with our money and keeping our powder dry and all that nonsense, like screw all that, man. Like there's no time like the present, like power of now. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that's a book. So somebody read up on that, but I'm pretty sure it's a book. The
it
power
is
of
though.
now. It's like, why wait till next season, man? Like, bro, there's a season to play for right now. And in January we were still right in the thick of a title race. So like
Mhm.
forget the summer and summer plans. Like fast track some of these signings if they're on your radar. Pay that money for Sesko is your guy, right? Pay that money for him in January. If Cunha is your guy, pay that money for him in January. If you're gonna go back in for these guys in the summer, there's a season to win right now because even like Laurent's saying, in the future, who knows how the league is going to look? It could get tougher. We don't know how things are going to shape up. So stop waiting for like the next season and the
Yeah.
perfect opportunity, the perfect summer. This summer we'll spend the money and war chest and all this nonsense. Like get the players in now. January a window is there. Literally a window of opportunity is there.
Yeah.
Bring in the signing. Get Cunha if Cunha's your guy. I'm going to be so frustrated if I see us linked to the same players in the summer that we were linked to
Oh,
in January. Because it's like,
yep.
why didn't you just get them in January?
Pay the
You know,
extra 20
and
mil more. Like the finances came out. Like we're making money. Like fuck.
and the thing is, and you know what, Mehrdad, like we've spoken about this too. You know what the annoying thing for me too is like it's not like we're trying to pull like a prime Mesut Ozil out of Real Madrid or pull an Alexis
Yeah.
Sanchez out of Barca. Like we're not going to the biggest clubs in the world and trying to pull their players. Why is it so hard for us to pull players out of respectfully Wolves, out of Leipzig? RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig, like that's an energy drink. Red Bull Leipzig, like respectfully, Leipzig has been around for not even 30 years. Like we can't even
Yeah.
pull players out of these clubs. Like, come on, we're the Arsenal. Like, go there, puff out your chest, put the cash on the table and say, I'm taking your player. Like, what's going on here?
It comes back to
Cities,
my comment about Chelsea, right? Like Chelsea will go and put the money down.
and that's it.
Chelsea will go and be like, yo, I want this. Give me the fucking player. That's how Liverpool lost Caicedo. That's how Liverpool lost Lavia. That's how we lost Mudryk. Now the Mudryk piece, hold that, you know.
Hmm.
But Caicedo and Lavia, sure, why not? Um, the reason why I want to come back to the Palace Villa game, even though Palace won against Villa, Asensio, Malen, Rashford. Now I know Rashford's not realistic because we couldn't get another Premier League player on loan. Daniel Malen, previously at Arsenal, why couldn't we go for him? Marco Asensio from PSG has a connection with Arteta. Like that would have been for me the Trossard Jorginho window. They're not young guys. Get one on loan, buy one. Mullen can play on both wings. He can play down the middle. Why? Why not? Why not? Why is it that Villa are going for that? And their front line looks amazing. I'm so jealous of Villa. Like I actually think that they're my dark horse for the Champions League because of Unai Emery and what he can do with that. Like you got a world class keeper. That back four is playing well enough to compete in the Champions League. You get Emery's getting a tick out of Yuri Tielemans popping up with goals. You got Amadou Onana, who I think he's injured right now, but he still plays a big part of that. You got Ramsey, you got Morgan Rogers, and wait, on top of that, you got Ollie Watkins and McGinn, and I'm still not done. You got Asensio, you got Rashford, and you got Mullen off the bench.
It's squad depth, isn't it? Squad depth.
Like, like what the fuck are we bringing on? Raheem Sterling, all due respect to him. Kieran Tierney, all due respect to him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that's the shit that pisses me off. That's the shit that I'm like, that's why I'm saying Chelsea's gonna be in the title race next year, you know? Because if push comes to the shove in January, they'll fucking go for it. They don't give a shit. Todd Bowley he doesn't care.
Chelsea's getting a lot of love this episode from you,
Well,
Hmm.
yeah, because when I think about it,
eh?
I'm thinking I'm like, next year like Liverpool will still be Liverpool. I think they're gonna lose their three big guys. So do I think that they'll be in the title race? Yeah, because I think they'll still figure out a way to remain up there. And with Chelsea, I think Maresca's gonna come back. I think he's gonna learn. I think he underestimated the Premier League from the Championship, and I think he's starting to realize what players he can't have. Because just watching the Southampton game, I was like, I'm understanding what he's trying to do and what he's trying to build here. Um, Similar to what Arteta is trying to do, but the big difference is he has the bag. Arteta has the purse, and Maresca has the bag. So, last two games, Liverpool, we're just gonna brush over that. 2-0. Just a professional performance. No Alexander Isak. They just keep on fucking rolling.
I think I might have said this last podcast and whatnot, but the icing on the cake in terms of a shot in the heart to Arsenal fans will be if Salah goes and breaks Henry's assist record. Like, and again, for those who don't know, Henry, I think tied with Kevin De Bruyne,
Yep.
holds the record for most assists in a single season. The year that Henry snapped in 2003 when he should have won the Ballon d'Or, to be honest. For goals and assists, double figures, and for those who watch basketball terms, double doubles, that season Henri had, crazy numbers in goals and assists, and that's a striker, So for a striker all this time to hold an assist record like that for most assists in a single season just goes to show you how phenomenal Henri is. And I'm living in the past here, History Channel right now because I can only talk about Arsenal's past. That's why I wear old school jerseys because I can't rep anything that's going on in the present. But yeah, man, geez, you know, Henri, like just a phenomenal player. If I give him some airtime, and what he was putting up back then, as a striker to have the record for most, assists in a single season, and we've seen some phenomenal midfielders in this Premier League, and Gerrard and Fabregas, Lampard, and De Bruyne himself who's just tied the record, and many other quality midfielders. Like for a striker, all this time to hold that record for the most assists in a single season is insane. And now Salah, he's at 17. He's gonna eclipse. He might actually eclipse Henry's record,
He
and
will.
that on top of Liverpool piping us to the league title, that'll just be another dagger in the heart. It's like their guy goes and breaks our guy's record. Like it's just a season to forget, man. Jeez,
Yeah. He's gonna beat it.
What is it, 20?
Yeah.
it's 20. It's 20, man. That's insane.
No. West Ham, Leicester, like West Ham, just keep rolling. I think they're up. I don't think they're gonna get relegated. Just looking at the standings, yeah, they're on 33 points. They're fine. Leicester looks like they're going back down.
Yeah, they're
Um,
off.
yeah, one player from them though I would love to sign, Buonanotte or Mavididi. Those are
Mm,
two players from them that I would love in an Arsenal jersey next year. Um, all right, midweek we got the Champions League back because this weekend is all FA Cup, and Arsenal unfortunately are out of the FA Cup, so there isn't really much to talk about. But maybe on Sunday we'll kind of quickly go through some of the fixtures from the FA Cup, and dive a little bit deeper into the Champions League games. But big
is
game,
Chelsea in the FA Cup,
I believe so.
Laurent?
No, I swear we got knocked out. Hold
Let me fact check this.
on.
Oh yeah, you guys got knocked out.
Yeah.
Mm,
Brighton 2-1.
Yeah, that's a bad game. Remember that. But yeah, at this point, Conference League.
Anyways, let's talk about a real champions league, a real European league. PSG Liverpool first leg um, is in Parc de France. I don't know how I feel about this.
Nah,
It,
there's only one way to there's only one way this goes.
really?
There's only one way this goes, man.
Wow.
I think the world is gonna see again why Liga is Liga and why Premier League is the Premier League. Yeah, it's going one way. I know that these PSG wins, right? Um, these results, I know they had a big result even in the Coupe de France. I think it was today or yesterday or something like that, right? The players scoring, but
yeah, it was yesterday. Ligue 1, they beat
that's
Lyon
that.
3-2.
Didn't they have one Coupe de France? It was I swear it was it was
No,
today.
it was yesterday they played Lyon. I'm checking it right now. They played Toulouse February 15th and they won 1-0.
No, but they played an amateur side, and they beat them 7-0.
Oh, they have some big
That was yesterday.
results.
Yeah, that was yesterday. That was a quarterfinal.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was yesterday. Yeah, they Stade Bianche, some amateur four tier side, and they beat them. Yeah, 7-0. But you know, it's gonna be typical PSG, in my opinion, right? I like to look at the historical data, right? Historical performance is a good predictor of future results,
I
and
mean, they dismantled Man City 4-2. They beat Red Bull Salzburg 3-0. They only lost to Bayern 1-0. Mind you, that was in Germany. Um, they lost to Atletico Madrid 2-1. I mean, we beat them, but that was when that was in October, so that we had Saka back then. Um, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as decisive as you think. What do you think, CJ?
No, I agree with Laurent. Yeah, you're speaking with confidence. Like, forget the whole tie for a second. Like, overall, I think, yeah, sure, Liverpool probably goes through, but this first leg specifically, like, this is in PSG's ground, and they're still, we can say what we want about Liga and all that stuff. When you accumulate wins, regardless, it's confidence, right? And it's momentum. And they've been doing it in the Champions League too, as of late. They slapped up Brest in the last round and stuff. So, regardless, you got to play the games in front of you, and you got to win those games. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I think they'll be pretty confident going into this one. Like again, overall time, different story probably, but this first leg could be quite interesting. Like I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a draw in there by the end of it. But I think there could be a few goals in this game specifically too, like a 2-2 high scoring draw or something like that. I don't know. It'll be interesting, man. I don't think it's gonna be as easy as you think it is for Liverpool, but who knows?
we got another Madrid derby, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. Um,
That's gonna be a cracker,
that's
man.
going to be fiery, and I am here for it.
Mm,
Um, not only in the Champions League, but also in La Liga. It's the standings right now is Barca, Real Madrid, Atletico. Points are, I'm going to start from top to bottom. The points are 54, 54, 53. So it's already a three-headed Champions League race. And then on top of that, we got this huge, huge clash. I'm all for it. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a Simeone classic. Dark Arts, get under their skin. Rodrigo de Paul, do your thing. Um, and we're gonna face one of these two if we get past PSB. Um, the big German tie, Leverkusen Munich,
it's another good one.
huge, huge
Really good one.
tie. They played. I think the last time that we chatted on the pod, they had just played, and it was a very, very boring game.
Mm.
But again, another huge game. I don't. I'm not confident in Munich. I think they'll squeeze it out. But it wouldn't shock me
No.
if Leverkusen not only win but also win decisively because
Mm.
there's something missing. There's something missing with Munich, and I don't want to blame company. I just think they're starting to get a little leggy. Um, a la
That's why,
Liverpool.
like, sorry to cut you off there. That's why this time around, I would have loved to have been on that side of the draw because if we were on that side of the draw and we drew Feyenoord, obviously, one, I wanted that one for the Van Persie derby. That would
Yeah.
have been fiery. But if we had beaten them, I think we play either you would have played the winner of Leverkusen and Bayern. And say it was Bayern, I would have wanted, I know for as long as we've been in the Champions League now, it seems like we draw Bayern every year, going back to the days, Laurent, when we were in freaking university. We're talking almost like 8, 10 years ago now. Seemed like Arsenal draw, like destined to draw Bayern every year. And I would have wanted to take them on this year, like confidently, because I just feel like we owe them one. I feel like last year we should have beat them, to be honest, over the two legs. We
Yeah.
we we really screwed ourselves in the first leg. So I would not have been afraid to play Bayern this year. So it sucks that we're obviously on the side of the draw that we got, typical our luck. But yeah, if we were on the other side of the draw, play Feyenoord, beat them, then we would have played either like, Leverkusen or Bayern Munich. And to be honest, I would have wanted Bayern Munich. I would have fancied our chances against them this time around. So, but anyways, it is what it is.
Um, Another matchup, Barca Benfica from the group stages that I think it was like a 7 goal thriller, if I'm not mistaken. It was a seven or
Yeah,
eight
that
goal
was a
thriller.
good game. Yeah.
The back and forth. I think again, I think this tie is going to be massive, and honestly, I think Barca will go through. However, I don't think I don't think it's going to be as easy as they may be expecting because I think there's something to say about Benfica and the Portuguese teams, coming back with a vengeance. Um, they need to do something at the Camp Nou, but Benfica, I wouldn't sleep on them. They still have a lot of experience and a lot of calm heads there. Nicolas Otamendi still holding it down, and now Di Maria. Um, they play well. They play well. Not to take anything from Barcelona, I think Barcelona is a step above them. However, in these type of games, like anything can happen. Dortmund, Lille. This one is one of
Tough
those.
to call.
Yeah, I think it's a toss up. Like Dortmund, they're very attacking, but their defense, eh. Lille, you know, Jonathan David. Let's see what he can do. But I think this is gonna go down. I think this might actually end up in extras or even penalties because that one seems like very close. The Giant Killers of Club Bruges meet Villa, and I think, like I said earlier, I think Villa is a dark horse to win it all. Just because of Unai Emery, he just has something in European competitions. He's done it with the no, not Sevilla. What am I forgetting? What Spanish team did he
Oh,
get?
Villarreal.
Yeah, Villarreal. Villarreal. So, and I think he has a better team, like than any other team that he's had. Like that team, the Arsenal team that he took the Europa League final. Like, fuck, man. He did
Yeah,
wonders with that team.
for real.
So, what are your thoughts? You think I mean I think Villa's gonna get through, but you think it's gonna be like just like a comprehensive win, or you think it's gonna be tighter?
No, I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be tough for Villa. Like they'll be nervous as well because this is like, their first knockout round in the Champions League for what, however long now, if not ever. Like, this is their first year back in the champs, and this would be their first knockout tie. So they're gonna be nervous, of course. Like, the stadium's gonna be rocking, kind of similar to us. Like, obviously last year was our first year back in the champs for a very long time, and when we had our round of 16 tie against Porto, it sounded like on paper that should be incomprehensive, easy draw for Arsenal to get through. But me and you were sat there at the pub and the second leg of at home at the Emirates, watching us go to penalty shootout against Porto, and winner take all at that point. So, and I think you can tell like we won that game on emotion last year in the Champions League in that round of 16 tie, and I kind of feel like similar sort of thing could happen this time around for Villa. Like they could get through on emotion, but it's going to be nerve wracking as well. I think, but I think they'll get through it.
Inter Milan Feyenoord, I don't even think there's much to say here. I think Inter Milan is just gonna breeze through. Um, Given the fact that with their pedigree of getting to the final, and just I don't have high expectations of Van Persie coming in. I think they'll show up, but I think uh, Inter is gonna be too much to handle as an Italian side that doesn't concede a lot. I think they're just gonna be too much. You guys expect anything different?
I agree with that. Um, I think out of all the draws, I think this one is the one that, you know, people would be more confident in predicting and putting their money on. Um, yeah, Inter is a good side. They play well. I think, yeah, defensively they're well structured. And yeah, it's the same manager, right? That brought him to the final versus
Yep.
City, if I
Yep.
recall, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no. So to me, I think man, if not Liverpool, I can see them actually, funny enough, going back in there and doing what they failed to do the first time.
Yeah, and I think they're better.
Yeah.
I think they're better, to be honest with you, because I think Jan Sommer is better than Andre Onana. Just looking at their roster, like they're all ticking a little bit better, and they have multiple systems that they can go to, right? It's not they're not very one dimensional anymore. There's multiple systems um, that they can go through. Um, so we're gonna leave the Arsenal game for all you listeners. We're gonna leave here for Sunday because we want to do a little bit of a news section for you guys, just kind of break it down a little bit more. We got Coach CJ who's gonna take the lead on that. So we'll leave the predictions and everything on there. Um, any last thoughts from this past week, like games or anything football related that you fellas want to talk about? I know we chat a lot in our group chat, but
Um, I mean, at this point for me, um, I'm excited. Usually when my team's not in the Champions League, I kind of refrain also from watching certain games. But I don't know. I feel like with a new format this year, right? It's more refreshing. So I'm gonna look forward to some of these ties. Um, I'm gonna keep an eye out on the PSG Liverpool one. Like I said, to me, as good as you guys think PSG is, I just don't see them edging out Liverpool, and I think you'll see the quality of Arne Slot there. Or in your case, right? You guys are gonna say what's the players that are gonna show up on that, but no, I think
If I may, Laurent, sorry to catch up. If I may, I don't think CJ or I said PSG is gonna win both legs. I think CJ said, yeah, they're gonna Liverpool's gonna win the tie
no, but I'm saying it's gonna be decisive.
in the
Like,
first leg.
yeah, yeah. It's just I honestly think that that team away
Gee,
as well as at home is just going to show you why, you know.
I mean, we are talking about Luis Enrique here,
Yeah,
who
that's
is
fair.
a top coach and who knows what he's doing. I don't
That's
think it's
true.
going to be as decisive. I think maybe in the second leg at Anfield it will be decisive,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's going to be a like 3-1. Like I don't think it's going to be that type of game in the first leg.
Okay, okay. Well, you know what? For the viewers at home, if you're willing, I will put you on a gentleman's bet.
Sure.
Okay, so I am saying, how do you want to do this actually?
Hold on. So PSG, I'm just gonna put it in the doc. Okay, so what's your score prediction?
So first leg, I think they're gonna beat them by a margin of two, is what I'm saying. So what do you want to do?
Right.
Like,
So you're saying Liverpool +2.
yeah, plus two. I'm saying plus two.
Okay. +2. I think it's gonna be first leg. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be PSG +1.
Hmm. Okay, okay. And then the second leg.
I'm gonna go first for second leg.
Yeah, yeah.
I +2 Liverpool.
Plus two Liverpool. Okay, yeah, I would say, I mean, on that one, I would agree to plus two as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, my main point is that even at the Stade de France, um, yeah, PSG is not going to say much. They're not going to do much. Yeah,
Well, we got something to look forward to.
yeah.
Coach, Coach CJ,
what, in terms of that game or just
just
generally?
in general, floor is yours, man.
Oh, um, yeah, I'm looking forward to listeners. Make sure you tune in Sunday. I'm looking forward to Sunday's episode. We're gonna sort of talk about and break down any like solutions for Arsenal going forward, and obviously with the Premier League season being a wrap in terms of the title race, we're gonna talk about how Arsenal can progress in the Champions League, and you know in that hypothetical world that we like to live in. We're gonna talk about how Arsenal can potentially win the Champions League, aka get through the next couple of ties, just to even get to like a semifinal or a final. What Arsenal needs to do, what they can do to progress. Because currently, our current formation just isn't cutting it. Our current options and the personnel and the way we're using them isn't cutting it. So um, we're gonna look at some solutions and our alternatives that we would potentially present and see how Arsenal can progress in a competition that we're not favorites in, but for as long as we're in it, there's still always going to be a chance. So let's see, stay tuned, locked in for Sunday, and listen to how we're going to potentially break that down and our thoughts on what we can do.
And then last thing to let you guys go, we're gonna put a little poll on our socials. I think Laurent had the question, is it more down to the players or the coach for how a team performs? Um, we'll spend a little bit of time on the pod on Sunday, just kind of discussing that, what our thoughts are. We had a good discussion between the three of us off air after our last episode, but we'd be curious to hear from you. So feel free to leave a comment on YouTube, X, Instagram. And I'm pretty sure you can even leave a comment on our Spotify. So we're gonna try to look for that during the next pod. But as always, really appreciate it, everyone, for listening and tuning in on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, hit a like, leave a comment. Um, just appreciate you listening to three really good friends bantering together about the sport that we love. So on that note, ciao, everyone.
Peace.